So this is the Combat Station. I'm your host, Ty Matthews, and today we have a guest on, Ciaran Clarke. How you doing, mate?
All good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Don't worry, mate. It's cool. So let's start off. Obviously, you're fighting in Bellator Dublin at the end of the month against Jordan Barton. How do you see this matchup going? What does he bring, and what do you bring that can nullify that?
What does he bring? Start off, I think he brings a overall good game. You know, he's good everywhere. He's good in the feet. He has finishes there. I've seen him before grapple to get the win. I've seen him off his back as well. So he's a good solid opponent. What can I bring? What I bring to the table every time. I bring a relentless pressure, and I think it's only when you're in there and you feel it in there that's when it's it's obviously it comes with being in there with me. So I think it's just going to be the same. Just put a pace on him and look to get the win.
Do you think you'll get a finish this fight?
I know one thing's for sure, that my training has it's definitely up the notch, and that I think by looking at me from the last year, my last fight, the past year since then, I genuinely think, like, looking at myself, I'm a different fighter. You know, I banked in certain things now that I'm actually better at, and I've added more to my game genuinely. So I definitely know I can get a finish. But we'll have to see on the night. You know, I know he is tough, and look, I'm one thing's for sure. I'm ready to go to 3 rounds. I'm training very hard, and from bell to bell, I'll be ready to go. You know.
Are you excited to fight in front of the Dublin crowd?
Yeah, I can't wait, man. To be honest, I always bring a crowd. I've always sell crazy amount of tickets. This time I actually have a reserve waiting list of people for tickets. You know what I mean? I ordered a certain amount, and now I'm like, right, gee, I have to actually like have people waiting on the side for people that's going to pull out. You know, if they pull out for tickets or whatever, which happens, the support's been unbelievable from all my sponsors and all my family and friends, and just in general, people between me gym and Drogheda here, and then the gym up in Dublin, me main gym, like. It's just been crazy, and it just gives me extra fuel going into the fight. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, fought with no crowds before with the COVID situation, and obviously at the IMAFs and stuff, no crowds, but it does give you that extra reason to go out and perform. Definitely.
What would you say the difference in fighting with no crowd and with a crowd is? Is there anything that affects you?
How would it affect me? I think I'd say, obviously, you know, the added things would be obvious things would be pressure on, you know, but to be honest, as soon as that cage door shuts and the ref says go, you know, it's you don't, you know, I'm not thinking about anybody outside the cage. I'm just listening to my coaches, and it's just the blinkers are on, you know. I'm just thinking about getting in there, and I'm just too focused, you know. I'm not even thinking about what's outside of me, you know. It's only in hindsight when you look back, you know, oh, that was some buzz, or, you know, thinking about your walkout. But when you're going down that ramp, and you know, I actually, to be honest, it's probably something I should do. I probably should you know, take it in on the moment. You know, I should probably take it in a little bit. But you know what? I'm just, as I said, I'm that focused that, you know, you can't really let that get in on you. You know, I'm just in there to do a job, which is you know, get in there and get the win.
I know you should be focusing your opponent right now, but anything you want after this?
After this, yeah, exactly. I find it very hard to look past what's ahead of me now in 3 weeks, because it's the only thing that's on my mind at the minute. But after this, I'd like something maybe February, March next year. I'd love something there. I'd love maybe you know, again in Dublin, or whatever may it be, for Bellator in Europe here or whatever. Obviously, by the end of the year next year, I'd love to get my visa sorted and a whole lot, and maybe get a fight in America next year. You know, that's definitely something that's a goal of mine for next year. So yeah, I suppose they would have 2 main things: get something early next, you know, February, March next year. You know, summer would be great to have another one, and again, the overall goal would be to have maybe a fight in America by next year. You know.
Are you familiar with any of the fights higher up on the card?
Obviously, just with the lads that are fighting at my own gym, you know, you have Peter Queenie fighting for the belt, James Gallagher obviously fighting the co-main event, Charlie Ward as well in the main build there as well, Pedro Carvalho, which I'm very excited for. He's up against Daniel Weichel, you know, doing all my sparring rounds a lot. You know, I've been training very closely with Pedro lately. Who else? You know, you've obviously the debuts of Steve Costello and Dara Kelly. You know, you've the Italian boys there, and Nico, you know, Danny as well. You know, she's coming off the win as well. You know, all the people from my gym, and you know, it's going to be a great night. I think it's going to be a good night for the Irish. You know, and I think it's really the fans that'll win. You know, I'd love to be first fight tonight, to be honest. Just get it over, done it, and watch the rest of the fights. You know, so I'm looking forward to it myself. You know.
How do you see Queenie versus Pitbull going? Because obviously that's the main event.
I think that's definitely going to go in the favour of Peter, in the sense that it's 5 rounds. I think obviously Peter's had his 5 round 5 round fight. Sorry, you know, before over in Russia and Kazakhstan, wherever else he's fought. You know, it definitely will. It definitely will go in his favour. So I see, you know, maybe first round feeling at each other. You know, it's going to be a long night for Pitbull. I think, in the sense that the later rounds, I think Queely's going to really commit to his own, and maybe get to finish this time. Who knows? I know Pitbull's tough, but I definitely see over the 5 rounds Peter taking that.
Did you watch Fury versus Wilder?
I did actually. I was very sorry the next day when I did watch it. The next day that I didn't watch it live, to be honest, because it was an absolute deadly fight, I have to say. Really, I was sick and then I didn't stay up, but staying up these days at that hour, you're doing yourself in for 2 nights. Then you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You have
100%.
to catch up and sleep, as everybody knows. You know yourself. So I was delighted to watch it then the next day, but then I was kind of sick and I didn't watch it live. But yeah, it was a serious scrap. I tell you one thing, like, Wilder surprised me. Like, I know, like, he's tough, but like, geez, like, he was in there to the end this time, and he was throwing them hands at clubs, like, and obviously Fury. I mean, I don't have to say much more there. Like, it was just it's unbelievable. I think it's his mindset, and you know, he's such a big fella as well. But to see him move like that, it's definitely something special. Like, I don't think we'll ever see that again. You know, like fair enough. You know, Ali moved around. I just seen the stats there today. You know, 6'2". You know, he was 220, but like Fury at 6'9" and 275. To be moving like that, it's definitely one of a kind. And his mindset, the way he lives his life, I'm a big fan, I have to say.
What do you think of Fury Usyk? Do you have anyone you think would win that fight?
Oh, I think, to be honest, I think Usyk's good. You know, he's a good boxer. He's technical. You know, but I think Fury's he's too big for him. I think he'll really will outbox him. And I think now he's after making that switch. And if you notice in the Wilder fight, his coach came in and I forget what round it was, maybe it was 6th round, but he came in, he says, "You're punching going backwards, start going forwards." And as soon as he done that, like, it was like a switch. Like, he just straight away changed the game plan. And I think what he's been doing lately has really worked for him. And instead, you know, boxing on the back foot, which he can do, you know, so he can fight going forward and backwards now. And I just think he'd be too big and too smart for Usyk, you know.
Do you watch a lot of MMA?
I would watch a lot of it. I wouldn't keep much up to date with the live events, as I said, because obviously obviously I know the results, and the next day I'll watch it on the dodgy sites. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't be staying up much. Obviously, the ones that's worth staying up for, obviously, you know, Conor and the likes of that, I'd be staying up for them. But I'd be always watching the next day. And my brother has UFC Fight Pass, so I get lend his account and I'd be watching fights. So they kind of, like, you know what, they kind of get like a buzz into like watching a certain fighter. Like for a while I was mad into watching Khabib, watching all his fights, what he's doing. Then for another while I might watch Makayev, his team. I forget, I don't know how to say his name. I'd be watching him, and Islam. Yeah, that's better. That was that would come off the tongue better there than the second name. But so him, and you know, I kind of like watch like Maya, a few of his fights. People that I can like look at and say, right, you know, I can take a few things, or I can emulate. You know, like I can take a few things from his game, and you know, I can watch and learn. You know, or I'm not going to go in and watch that Adesanya, you know what I mean? I'm not going to never be that fighter, you know what I mean? He's tall, rangy, striker, you know what I mean? I'm never going to be that fighter, you know? Obviously, you can pick little things, but, like, I'm going to watch the guys that I know I can, take things from their style and put it into my own game. So I like doing that. The odd time I might watch the fights just multiple times, the way. So I do enjoy doing that. Whereas just thinking a random fight is different, like I'd rather watch certain lads, if that makes sense.
Mm. Who is your favorite MMA fighter?
My favorite MMA fighter, I'd have to say probably old school. Looking back, it'd probably be BJ Penn. I read his book, and obviously apart from that, like obviously watching his fights and just what he was able to do. Like, I mean, he got his black belt in 4 years, was the first American to win the Mundials at black belt after only 4 years. And literally he was a prodigy, and just his mindset and the way he fought up and down and weights. And I have to say BJ Penn, the likes of Nick Diaz, these lads that I think are probably looking for style wise. I'd say their style, like looking at Khabib, I love his style. I just think it's relentless, and as I said, I can look to my own game and say, right, I can, look to that and learn from it, and start to, I could see myself, obviously not get to that level, but I mean, I could see myself like, right, that's something to work towards, to get that kind of relentless pressure and that ground and pound style and get the finishes, So I love watching Khabib. Who else? I was always a big fan of Kelvin Gastelum as well. Always loved his style, the tidy boxing, and the way he was the the underdog and the ultimate fighter. These type of lads. I love watching these lads. So I suppose it's hard to put a name on one person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. Lastly, I'm gonna end it with a prediction. Colby Usman 2 is happening next month. Who do you think is gonna win that fight?
Do you know what? That's a tough question. Looking at the last fight, I think Colby did really, really well. It kills me to say I don't like his personality, and look, I'm sure he's that's his thing. He talks the talk, and but I love his style. I really do love his style. I love watching him actually. On the feet, he's just threes and fours combinations. He's relentless. I love his cardio is unbelievable. His pressure with the takedowns. He's a great style. I love watching him. Usman, I think, is just a bit more powerful. I think when he lands, he's landing harder. As you could see in the last one, he was really landing harder. So that's a really hard one. Do you know what? I'm gonna say Colby. I think he can get it done this time over the 5 rounds. I think he's gonna make the adjustments and he's gonna get it done. I think he can take a lot more than Usman can from the last one, I think, and improve on. Whereas I think Usman, he's a beast. Like, but I think Colby. It kills me to say it because, as I said, I would love to see Usman do it, but I think Colby is gonna do the job in the next one.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here, but anything you want to say to your fans before we go?
Just want to say thanks very much for the support by everybody, my family, my friends. They all know who they are. I don't have to say them. Just want to say thanks to my sponsors, Granite Tops Ireland, Earth Nightclub, all these guys from the start from your pro career. You got Air and Muscle there. We've another new sponsor at Leading Contracts. Obviously, we got JV Buddies, Sean Carroy Fitness, Atomic Fitness, Harford Motor Company, Chevy Bell, Murray's Coaches, as well as Connect Floor. And I could keep going on here, but I just want to get them all in, because they've been all very good to me. It's all Mauler MMA, all these new ones that's coming on as well. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm looking to fly the flag for them all in the next fight. So thanks very much to all my sponsors.
Ciaran, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Hopefully we can get you back on after your fight, and I do wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a million.
Mate, let's hope you get a finish. And this has been the Combat Station, and we are out.
Thanks very much.